Have you ever felt like someone was using you to get ahead? Fake relationships can be challenging to identify, especially when we want to believe in the goodness of others. Even though Islam teaches us those relationships should be honest and based on mutual respect, we often meet people who only see us as a way to get what they want. This video delves into 10 behaviors that show someone doesn't really care about you but is just using you for their own gain. We will use Islamic principles to help us find and deal with these people. Number 1, selective availability. Being there for other people, especially when they need you, is very important in Islam. This is in line with what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught, who stressed how important it is to help each other and be brothers. Surah Al-Ma'un 1:7 tells us how important it is to help others, especially those who are in need. On the other hand, some people only show selective availability by being present when it's good for them. This behavior goes against the Islamic belief that people should help each other and not look out for themselves. People like this may ask for help or support, but they are noticeably absent when others need them. This one-sided dynamic not only fails to embody the Islamic spirit of brotherhood, but also fosters feelings of resentment and inequality. Recognizing and dealing with this problem is very important for keeping our relationships strong. If you're in a relationship where you give a lot, it might be time to reevaluate and set healthier boundaries that are in line with Islamic teachings about being kind and helping each other. Number 2, lack of personal interest. In Islam, caring about other people and having empathy are very important traits. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, truly cared about the happiness of everyone, no matter what their position was. The behavior in question is in line with Surah Al-Hujurat 49:13, which tells us to care for each other and value each person. But some people may not seem interested in you, which is a negative indicator in any relationship. People like this only interact with you when it suits them and don't care much about your life, feelings, or experiences. This lack of depth in interactions goes against the Islamic principle that everyone should care about and be interested in the well-being of others. It's not fair for one person to only care about their own needs and not the other person's. This goes against the spirit of brotherhood and empathy that is taught in Islam. You should think about these relationships and see if they reflect the Islamic values of caring for others, respecting others, and not caring about yourself. By doing this, we can make sure that our relationships are not only satisfying, but also spiritually helpful and in line with our faith. Before the next behavior, help us to spread the message of Islam to a wider audience by simply clicking on the subscribe button and sharing your insights in the comments. Number 3, manipulative behavior. In Islam, being honest and having integrity in everything you do is very important. As taught by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, being honest is a very important trait for a Muslim to have. Manipulative behavior, like lying to or taking advantage of others for your own gain, goes against these teachings. In Islam, actions like these are seen as dishonest and harmful because they go against the principles of trust and sincerity. If someone is being manipulative, it's a clear sign that the relationship isn't based on the Islamic values of honesty and mutual respect. This kind of behavior could include making you feel guilty, using emotional blackmail or lying to get you to do or say something that will help someone else. In Surah An-Nisa 4:58, Allah tells us to be fair and honest in everything we do. This means that cheating to get what you want is unfair and therefore not acceptable. From an Islamic point of view, dealing with people who try to trick you means staying true to your values and being honest. Setting clear limits and being assertive about them is important. If you think someone is trying to trick you, talk to family, friends, or community leaders you trust. Number 4, lack of respect and consideration. Islam believes that everyone should be treated with respect and dignity. It's important to be kind and considerate to everyone, no matter who they are or how you know them, according to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. If someone doesn't treat you with respect and care in a relationship, it's a big sign that they might be using you for their own gain, which goes against everything Islamic teachings say about how people should treat each other. This disrespect can show up in many ways, such as ignoring your needs, putting down your opinions, or not caring about how you feel. Surah Al-Hujurat 49:11 tells Muslims to avoid making fun of others and calling them names. This shows that Islam teaches us to value each person and treat them with honor and respect. People think that these actions hurt social harmony and people's sense of self-worth. To deal with these kinds of problems, Islam promotes open and honest communication, as well as forgiveness and patience. It's important to be respectful and firm when you speak up, when you feel like you're not being treated with the respect you deserve. Number 5. Superficial bonding. In the Islamic tradition, relationships that go deep and mean a lot are very important. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, built relationships based on honesty, respect, and real care. If a relationship doesn't have any depth or emotional connection, he taught us that it's a sign that someone is using you for their own gain instead of caring about you as a person. Interactions that stay on the surface with little to no interest in each other's personal lives, feelings, or well-being are often signs of superficial relationships. This goes against the Islamic idea of brotherhood and sisterhood, which says that relationships should be caring, helpful, and enriching. As shown in Surah Al-Imran 3159, the Quran tells Muslims to care about and be kind to each other. Kindness and mercy are praised as qualities of a good leader and friend. Islam teaches us to connect with others in a real and caring way so that our relationships go beyond the surface level. To do this, you need to take the time to understand and support each other's goals, struggles, and joys. It tells us to be present in our interactions, listen carefully, and be open about our feelings. In this way, we not only follow Islamic principles, but we also make connections that are deeper and more meaningful, which makes our lives and the lives of others better. Number 6. Exploiting kindness. Kindness is a highly regarded and encouraged virtue in Islam, as demonstrated by the example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. As evidenced by the Hadith, those who are most beneficial to people are the most beloved of Allah. He taught us to be kind and helpful to everyone, but there's a thin line between being helpful and being exploited. Unfortunately, some people take advantage of this generosity for personal benefit. They might always beg for resources, assistance, or favors, but they hardly ever say thank you or return the favor. This conduct runs counter to the Islamic ideal of respect and assistance for one another. In addition to ensuring justice and forbidding ourselves from being taken advantage of, the Quran commands us to assist others. And do not throw yourselves with your own hands into destruction by refraining, states Surah Al-Baqarah 2:195. Maintaining the harmony between serving others and protecting our own well-being requires us to be able to recognize when our kindness is being taken advantage of. It's crucial to keep in mind that Islam also teaches us to be discernible and wise in such circumstances. When it's necessary, we should not hesitate to say no and establish boundaries. By doing this, we preserve the Islamic values of justice and self-respect, in addition to safeguarding ourselves against exploitation. Number 7. Ignoring boundaries. It is very important to respect boundaries so that relationships stay private and honorable. It was important for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to respect both emotional and physical boundaries. This fits with what the Quran says in Surah Al-Hujurat 49:12, which says to stay away from things like gossip and suspicion. Some people might not follow these Islamic rules and get involved in private matters without permission. In this way of acting, personal space is violated, which goes against Islamic values. It is very important to notice and deal with these boundary violations. It's not enough to just stop disrespect. Islamic teachings also say that we should teach others how important it is to respect each other. Being clear about your boundaries and communicating them assertively is both good for you and in line with Islamic teachings. In these kinds of situations, Islam says to be wise, kind, and firm at the same time. Keeping your personal space safe in this way helps build respectful, peaceful relationships that are based on the principles of Islam. Number 8. Lack of empathy. Islam teaches that empathy is a good quality and that people should have it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a great example of empathy because he always understood and cared about other people. This is similar to a verse in Surah Al-Fajr 89:17 that criticizes people who don't support feeding the poor. This shows how important empathy is in Islam. It goes against the Islamic philosophy of compassion and kindness for someone to consistently not care about other people's feelings or problems. In these cases, it's important to see this behavior as wrong, which goes against what the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught. This lack of empathy can make relationships difficult and make the environment unhealthy. Since Islam encourages people to understand and care for each other, to solve this problem, Islam encourages people to talk to each other in an open and honest way, always with respect and kindness. You should talk about how this lack of understanding hurts you and the relationship. By doing this, you're not only supporting the caring principles that Islam holds dear, but you're also giving the person a chance to think about their actions and maybe change them so that they are more in line with the caring spirit of Islam. Number 9. Failure to fulfill promises. Islam places a high value on honesty and trustworthiness, and the Quran emphasizes the significance of keeping one's word. Surah Al-Isra 17-34. In addition to undermining trust, persistent promise-breaking goes against the fundamental Islamic principles of accountability and honesty. Relationships may become unbalanced as a result of this behavior, where trust and effort are met with neglect and unreliability. Persistent non-compliance with promises is a grave concern. It shows a lack of respect and sincerity for Islamic principles. This kind of behavior erodes trust in relationships and leads to a one-sided dynamic where one person's efforts are taken advantage of without any reciprocation. Islamic teachings dictate that in order to resolve this matter, one must be persistent and assertive. Integrity is crucial in resolving such conflicts, and open communication is essential. Number 10. Constant competition. Islam is a society that values cooperation and mutual support, as evidenced by Surah Al-Asr 103:1.3, which stresses the need of giving each other patient and truthful advice. On the other hand, a relationship tainted by unrelenting rivalry departs from these ideals. This never-ending competition can create a poisonous atmosphere that runs counter to Islam's encouragement of brotherhood and cooperation. We are taught by the Quran to pursue knowledge and do good deeds, but never at the expense of other people. When there is perpetual rivalry in a relationship, people are more concerned with surpassing one another than they are with encouraging and recognizing one another's accomplishments. Islam encourages us to examine our intentions and realign them with the values of respect and cooperation in order to address the issue of constant competition in relationships. We can cultivate an atmosphere of encouragement and support for one another by emphasizing personal development and making positive contributions to the lives of others. This strategy not only improves our relationships, but also puts us in line with the core ideas of Islam, which emphasize unity and community. If you've learned something from this video or below, please share it in the comment section below so we all can learn from it. For more self-improvement and Islamic videos, check out the video here.